We get these messages, these callings. The callings are a blessing. Long story short, I had a calling. You have a calling?
You got a calling too?
You're not listening to my calling. You didn't get the calling.
It was a calling. It's part of the calling.
Ben and I have been getting callings all day. You think our callings are related?
It could be the most important calling we've had so far.
We don't know what the calling means. Maybe the calling has to do with you?
Ignore the calling.
Was that a calling?
But this is your calling to solve. This is your calling. I can solve this calling. I was trying to solve the calling.
This is not how you solve your callings, Ben.
It's not my calling, it's hers.
Someone had a calling. Angelina had a calling. Angelina had a calling.
What was the calling?
The callings only show you something that you would know. Well, maybe the callings want you to go back to your old school. Angelina had a calling. We can't let her ignore a calling. Okay, the callings, they led us here. This is a part of a calling. I think the calling is leading us to the box. Maybe the calling wanted you to have that photo. You really think the calling wanted us to get slushies?
Callings don't get more specific than that.
Pete had a calling. It's important to follow the calling, but how can you follow the calling? I just wish we knew what the callings meant.
Tell us about the calling.
The calling. What's the calling?
I don't know what your calling is, Pete. You had the same calling. Pete had a calling.
Pete just had a calling. He just had this calling now.
I am done talking about the calling.
As long as you follow callings,
Look,
then
I haven't had any callings.
I stopped getting the callings.
Still no callings?
no more callings. I never thought I'd say I missed the callings. Cal had a calling. Let's figure out who else had that calling. Or was she just having a calling? I should probably help Mick with the calling, don't you think? Sounds like your dad and Mick are making progress on their calling. The callings really do follow us. You can't throw a stick without hitting somebody who has callings. I felt him.
Am I calling?
A new calling?
I had a terrifying calling last night. Okay, I had a really horrifying calling last night. I think you can help us with this calling. I had a calling.
Of course you did.
Jared, I had a calling.
You know what, Mick? That's it. I'm tired of these damn callings.
You had a calling?
She had the calling, I know it.
The callings don't happen to you.
He didn't get the calling.
You are so consumed with the callings.
Maybe that's what the calling's about.
Her calling could be about anything. The two of you have done more than enough for the callings.
I got a calling.
You got a calling. I heard you. I got a calling.
I'm okay. It's just a calling.
It's a calling.
Forget about the callings.
Or the callings.
We didn't even need a calling.
Are you calling or am I?